Hey asshole, your microphone isn't on. Anyway, what this drunk idiot is attempting to tell you is Happy New Year, everybody. Let's take a look at the year of 2021, which shouldn't be able to be as terrible from a movie standpoint as 2020 was. Considering that 6 movies had to be bumped from the 2020 predictions video to this year's video would suggest that this would be a strong year, but it sort of isn't. But I have been able to comprise a list of 15 movies that should be on top of everybody's top 10 list at the end of the year of 2021. So let's go to a much more sober version of me doing the actual list. So, on with the list, shall we? Number 15, Black Widow. We haven't seen a proper Marvel movie for quite a while now, so one of the reasons why this one has re-emerges on this list is the fact that it is a Marvel movie, it is Black Widow, and it is her standalone movie. Maybe it has come out 5 years too late, who knows? But I know that I'm kinda hyped for this one, even though I'm fearing that this is going to be basically Hobbs and Shaw with tits. And I also fear that it might be too cutesy and too silly, you know, trying to combine that one with the more serious tones of the movie. But even though this still looks like it's going to be a very, very spectacular movie, and it is always fascinating to see how they will get around all the when this event actually takes place. That's gonna be a bit of a problem, that might be a problem, or it might be the solution to this movie. I still have high hopes for this one, and we'll see where it goes. Number 14, The Suicide Squad. When the original Suicide Squad came about 5 years ago, I was on the hype train for that one, and I thought it was going to be one of the most awesome movies of the entire year. It wasn't. It was another example of DC hotshotting everything and just making a pretty dumb and pretty mundane and very, very, very dumb structured movie with too many characters and too little focus. It wasn't terrible. People have, hated this movie for some reason, and a lot of people think that it is the worst movie DC has ever put out. No, I don't think it is the worst they have done in recent years, but it is very underwhelming. However, I think James Gunn at the helms and a very, very, very impressive list of characters and actors in this one might fix the whole thing, or it will be a complete jumbled mess once again. We'll see. We'll just hope that this will be an actual tale of anti-heroes rather than just another boring movie. This is a movie that's either gonna make or break. It has the surprise potential of it, and because DC has been on a bit of a ascending trajectory for the last couple of movies, it might work and it might not. But I still think that this is a movie that can surprise you. The 355. A sort of combination of Ocean's 8 and The Bourne Identity and stuff like that. I love spy movies, I love heist movies. Combining them, it should be great. Let's just hope the plot is that they're not gonna steal a necklace or something like that, because that would be so incredibly lame. It's probably going to be a sort of Mission Impossible light, and I hope it's going to be a lot of suspense and a lot of, figuring out stuff and, team coming together, doing a job and stuff like that. It has the potential of be one of these real good sleeper hits, or it might be a little lame. And I really hope that they pull this off this time, because I think we haven't had any really good spy movies as of recently, and it would be fun with a new one. Number 12, Mortal Kombat. Do you mean Mortal Yes, being stuck in development hell for about, well, I don't know, 20 years or something like that, we're finally going to get a new Mortal Kombat movie. It's going to be rated R. I don't know anything else about it. I just have, a fool's hope that this will be the perfect mix of violence and trashy goofiness that was the original Mortal Kombat movies, and please can we have the Eurodisco track when they're fighting just once. I'll be happy then. I don't expect this movie to be intellectually challenging or anything like that. I just expect this movie to be a lot of dumb fun fight sequences with characters we all know and love. And maybe, just maybe, we will have an actually great video game based movie. Do I see the risk that this movie will be dumb and kind of lame and ridiculous and soulless? Yes, the risk is there, but I really hope that this movie will prove that you can make a good video game based movie. If someone is going to succeed with it, it's gonna be fucking this one. And but I do know one thing. There is no chance in hell that they're going to make a movie that it has a better first 20 seconds than the original Mortal Kombat. Because you can't top it. It is impossible. Number 11, Infinity. Infinity was originally going to come out last year. It is directed by Antoine Fuqua and starring Mark Wahlberg, and it is a sci-fi movie about a man, experiencing different lives and different times and stuff like that. I'm guessing this is going to be kind of like a Looper kind of a movie, maybe with hints of Edge of Tomorrow or something like that. It sounds like a lot of fun. It has great potential. This is it also might be one of these movies who gets lost in the shuffle and just becomes nothing, but I hope this will be a great sci-fi thriller. Number 10, Old. If you have never heard about Old, fair enough. Old is the new project by M. Night Shyamalan. Very little is known about it. In recent years, it has been a bit of a renaissance for good old M. Night. After having done some of the worst movies in recorded history, he has bounced back in major big time. And whenever there's a new M. Night Shyamalan movie, there's a small part of me who still says, well, he's going to pull out a big swerve in this one. It's going to be a big twist in this one. That's what I always hope. I live for the super twists. I live for the swerves. I live for the moments when you go, oh my god. And I think it's a good chance that they actually can pull it off this time. So little is known about Old that it might end up just anywhere on the 2021 roster of movies. But I'm of course hoping it's going to end up high up, and I'm hoping that I'm gonna leave the movie theater happy and surprised and in shock. That's the best type of leaving a movie theater. Number 9, Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla, King of the Monsters, was a very, very fun and very spectacular monster movie. Kong, Skull Island, was a very, very fun and spectacular monster movie too. Combining them, what will you get? You will get something that is approximately as good as those one, I would assume. I still think one of the problems with this movie is how predictable I guess it's going to be, because I believe that about a year ago in Vilnius, that it will be them fighting each other for a little bit, and then there's gonna come some, big twisted monster that is gonna be, a bigger threat to the planet than those two, and then they're gonna settle their differences and they're going to, team up and beat the ever-loving shit out of the new monster, and then they're gonna have, this alliance that is a little fragile, but they're still gonna, pay respect to each other and maybe even fist bumping. The last thing I don't think is gonna happen, but it would be fun at least. I think this is going to be a movie to truly enjoy on the big screen. I hope it will come out on the big screen, because this is the type of movie that movie theaters were built for. The massive scope and the big monsters, beating the shit out of each other with their big fists. And even though I'm not a huge Godzilla fan, the Godzilla scream when you're hearing that in IMAX theaters, it still makes my hair stand on my neck. It is a ooh my word moment, and this has the potential to be really fun. Number 8, ShangChi and the Legend of the Seven Rings. More from Marvel's ocean of cinematic motion, and ShangChi, everybody. I don't know anything about him, I have no idea what his powers are, I don't know what he is. I know that he's Asian and I know that he kicks ass and knows Kung Fu. I don't know if this is going to be more of a, martial arts based movie, or it's going to be more of a spiritual movie, because for some reason I have heard that this has something to do with Doctor Strange, or am I just wrong with this one? I don't know, but I'm really hyped for it, but I don't know how good it's going to get. Because I don't know anything about the character, and I don't know anything about what the movie is going to be about. So this is just about the reason I'm putting this movie on this list as high as I do is simply because it's Marvel, it's a character I don't know anything about, so there's a lot of potentials there. So I don't know anything else, but I'm hopeful. Number 7, A Quiet Place Part 2. A Quiet Place was one of the best horror movies I've seen in recent years. If it is a horror movie or if it is a sci-fi thriller, the jury is still out exactly what it is. But I do know what it is. It's an absolute masterpiece in suspense. Since almost the entire movie takes place in complete silence, you're forcing yourself to, oh god, what's going to happen? Emily Blunt was fantastic. This very small cast was great, and it has some of these heart-wrenching sequences that are sort of, oh god. Even though the entire thing, let's bring a baby into this world, is one of the dumbest decisions anybody has made in any movies ever. I still maintain that if they had, abandoned the entire baby thing, they would have saved themselves a whole lot of trouble. But let's not go into that part of the movie. Let's look forward ahead and see that we're having an expansion of the world, which is always fun. It's never good to do the same thing twice, especially when you have such a specific and niched concept as A Quiet Place. I absolutely loved the first movie, and I really hope that this one can do the same thing, but give it a little bit more meat. Make us see a little bit more of the world and get us to understand a little bit more how this thing works and the history behind it. A Quiet Place has all the tools it needs in its toolbox to create an absolutely stonking good sequel. And because they're going to, do flashbacks and we're going to see a lot more stuff geographically, you have the ability to craft a very bigger movie structured around the same concept without it feeling forced. I just hope they have the same fantastic attention to the details that they had in the original movie. Number 6, Matrix 4. In the end of the Matrix Revolutions, some little girl says to the Oracle, will we ever see Neo again? Someday we might, or something like that, she said. Personally, I've never paid any attention to this little piece of dialogue, but now it seems more prophetic and more, well, threatening actually, because the Wachowskis are making a new Matrix movie. I would have really preferred if they would have made a new Matrix movie without any returning characters, that they would have, reimagined people and that they would have, done something else. They could have set it in the Matrix universe, but it could have featured completely new characters. Now, there is the ever so slightly risk that this will be a band trying to play the old hits again, and because we have seen them and we have seen, you know, parodies of them, and we have seen all the movies again and again and again and again and again, there is the ever so slight chance it will be a little, well, it was better the last time. With slick 3D effects and, you know, a lot of new tools in their technical toolbox, they have the ability to craft a fantastic movie. Only problem is the Wachowskis has been a little herky-jerky as of lately when it comes to the quality of their movies. So this is one of these, I really hope it's going to be the 6th best movie of the year, but I also fear that it might be Jupiter Ascending once again, and I will be very, very cross and am going to complain a lot about it, but we'll see about it. I don't know anything about it except that it's going to be a 4th Matrix movie. It's going to be directed by the Wachowskis. It's going to star Keanu Reeves again, and also Carrie Ann Moss, whose time hasn't been too kind to. And apart from that, I have no idea what the movie is going to be about, and it's going to be tricky to craft a new story around it. Are they going to do the same thing over again? Is Neo going to be unplugged of the Matrix again? Or is it something completely different? Let's just hope that they're able to stick the landing with this one. Personally, I really, really like all the 3 Matrix movies. I think that the first one is best. I think the second one is really good. And I also actually think that the third one is actually really good. People usually really, really love the first Matrix movies, and they really, really dislike the 2 second ones. But I'm more of the opinion that the first one is really good but a little overrated, and that the 2 ones are really entertaining but a little bit underrated. So we'll see where this one figures into the whole thing. Number 5, No Time to Die. This movie comes with a little bit of a caveat, because whenever a new James Bond film comes out after Daniel Craig took over the role, you could say that the following thing happens every time it, one premieres. Casino Royale. Watching it, oh, amazing! Rewatching it, it wasn't as good as I remember it. Quantum of Solace, whoa, amazing! Rewatching it, it wasn't quite as good as I remember it to be. Skyfall, whoa, amazing! Rewatching it, actually, it's kind of boring. Spectre, my god, it is just one of the best James Bond films of all time. I have actually not rewatched it since, out of fear of me, getting very, very surly again. There is something about the Daniel Craig James Bonds that I have a problem with. They always begin so strong, but they always manage to kind of finish on a bit of a downer. The end is more story-driven than spectacular, and it kind of that you go from a shooting to a stabbing. It isn't as fun, and it isn't as spectacular, and it isn't as entertaining. They're still good movies, but when I saw the trailer for this one, I thought, which I always do when a new James Bond film comes out, this looks so incredible. It all depends on how this movie ends. The last 20 minutes of No Time to Die will determine how good that movie is going to get. Is it going to be another one of these fantastic, 2/3 of a movie and then Or will it be that they stick the landing this time? Because I have waited for a fantastic Bond film from start to finish since GoldenEye, and I haven't actually really got it yet. But I'm always so hyped when a new James Bond film comes, so that it's still going to be here, damn it, because it's James Bond. Number 4, The Kingsman. Fun fact, this is the 3rd time this movie has shown up on the list like this, because it was scheduled for 2019, it was bumped to 2020. It was scheduled for 2020 and it was bumped for 2021. I think actually I saw trailers for this one as far as back in 2018. It was going to come out then, and it still hasn't come out. this movie has a great advantage when it comes to the other Kingsman movies, mainly because that it doesn't suffer from the classical prequel curse that they have to, squeeze itself into through the prequel hole. Because it is not a sequel, you're not bounded by the thing that happened in the last movie, so they can craft their own story, and it takes place so far ahead of the new movies that all the characters in that movie will basically be dead by the time that Eggsy, becomes one of the Kingsmen. And I think that makes this movie having a great load of potential. I'm really hopeful, and my expectations might be too high on this one, I don't know, but here's hoping that it at least will be released 2020. Only, I don't know, 2.5 years too late. Number 3, The Last Duel. You say, what? I say, directed by Ridley Scott, written by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, starring Matt Damon and Adam Driver. And by the way, when was the last time we saw Matt Damon in an, big time movie? It was certainly not yesterday. This is my sleeper hit warning of the year. This is one of these movies that has been a little bit under the radar. It apparently is based on some book about, power struggles and, politics and stuff like that in 14th century France. And it's going to be some duels, I guess, and some knights and stuff. I think this is more going to be a Man for All Season rather than King Arthur or Kingdom of Heaven or something like that. When I just randomly found this movie when I was doing research for this little list, I said to myself, well, here is everything I like. Here we have Ridley Scott, one of my favorite directors. We have Medieval Times, which I really like. We have Matt Damon, who I really like, and Adam Driver, which I really like. Having it been written by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon is just a bonus. And this is one of these movies I really think will be on many people's best list at the end of the year. We'll see if I'm right. I hope I'm right, because so far it's a rarity that Ridley Scott does anything else than excellence. But, well, sometimes it's going to be the first. Also, this is a little fun thing. The first movie Scott ever did was called The Duelists in 1977. A great film. I don't know if it's going to be some kind of a mirror thing of the whole thing, because it took place in a different time period, but I don't know if those are gonna mirror each other in some kind of way. Number 2, Mission Impossible 7. 7? They've done 7 of these things. That's crazy. For the last 10 years, you can rely on Tom Cruise for doing one thing every 3 or so years. Make a new Mission Impossible movie that will blow everybody away. The movies have just keep getting better and better and better. Ghost Protocol, fantastic. Rogue Nation, freaking amazing. Fallout, fucking hell, that was a great movie. They have constantly been absolute top-notch entertainment. And Tom Cruise's latest attempt of committing suicide on the movie set seems to be as spectacular as the rest of them. I have so high expectations for this one. This is one of really few movies that's going to come out this year that I know is at least going to be fantastic. If it gets a single point beneath 85, I'm going to count that as a complete failure. This movie, I know, is going to become absolutely amazing, and if it's not on the top 5 at the end of the year, well, I'm going to be very surly about it. And number 1, Dune. Was there any doubt? Course not. Denis Villeneuve's slightly delayed movie version of Frank Herbert's novel is going to be very, very interesting to see. He is, apart from Christopher Nolan, the greatest director working right now. He has just made so many fantastic movies. when everybody said that you shouldn't do a sequel to Blade Runner. He made one, and he did a movie that was better than that one, and that is a hill I am willing to die on. He made Arrival, one of the greatest films about the entire decade, and he has constantly put out great movie after great movie after great movie, and him tackling Dune is such a big thing. It has such an impressive cast, and it has such a rich history. People have said online, I've seen, you know, somewhere, that this movie really should have been split up into two, and for once I actually agree with them. I think this is a movie that should be split up into two, so they could really focus and dive deep into the rich lore of Dune. Will they though? No, I don't think so. But I'm really very much expecting that there was going to come out some kind of a director's cut that is going to be, you know, an hour longer or something like that. At least I hope so. Dune has the potential of becoming the first real mega classic of the 2020s. Let's hope so, and let's hope that 2021 will be a good year for movies. Let's hope it's going to be a year filled with delightful and entertaining movies to relieve ourselves from the god-awful year that was 2020. But around Christmas time, 2021, I'm going to, you know, show you the results of what happened to these 15 movies. Were some of them even bumped to 2022? Let's hope that's not the case, and let's certainly hope that it's not the case for The King's Man. It would be a little ironic. I think they're gonna shelve the entire movie if they're gonna have to, you know, be forced to do that. But I'll see you next time from, well, so-and-so, basically Italy, reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year 2021! Woo!